Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Giada. I'm the founder of Glam, a fashion career mentor, and I teach several courses on how to get a job in fashion. So inspired by my teaching, today I wanted to share a video about some of the tools that I teach to my students that are used widely in the fashion industry by not only students, but interns, assistants, and fashion professionals for research, for building presentations, and more. So whether you are someone wanting to get a job in the fashion industry, you're a fashion student, you aspire to become one, or you're already working in the industry, in this video you will find the tools that we typically use in the fashion industry. Some of the tools, of course, because there are also others. And if now you're curious about my courses, I teach my popular Break into the Fashion Industry course, which is my unconventional method to get a job in the fashion industry. It is the same method that I used over 10 years ago to break into the fashion industry, and I went from getting ghosted and rejected by 20 plus brands to finally get hired by Alexander McQueen by just changing the application strategies. I've taught these strategies to over 3,000 fashion enthusiasts over the years. It's now my full-time job teaching fashion courses. So if you're curious, you can check out my Break into the Fashion Industry course, where you will learn practical things to get a job in fashion, and you will also simulate an internship experience to build a portfolio and learn the skills that you actually need in your fashion job. The first tool is one that you might be familiar with because it is Pinterest. So Pinterest is used a lot by fashion professionals. Nowadays, my students, for example, are using it to build mood boards for their portfolio projects. Imagine that you are a stylist, you are an editor, you work in marketing, and you have to gather ideas to present the mood board to your team, to present the vibe of a collection, of a styling editorial, of a marketing campaign. So you will put together a mood board, and Pinterest is such a great tool to get so much inspiration. I use it a lot. I use it to build this mood board. I got all of the images for this mood board for the assistant stylist project for a day that I signed to my student, and they had also to use Pinterest to do more research. It is great if you lack inspiration, if you need to find inspiration in general for a portfolio, for a project at work. Pinterest is your go-to resource. The second tool is Canva. You're probably familiar with Canva. It has almost replaced Adobe Photoshop because it is the super easy to use design platform to build a lot of graphics. As you can see here, this mood board that I showed to you, I use Pinterest to download and find the images, and then I use Canva to put it together. So I teach to my students how to use Canva to build the beautiful portfolios. So as you can see here, these are some examples of portfolios built by my students using Canva. I also use it as an educator to build all of my slides for my webinars and all of my courses. It is super easy to use, it's professional, you can use it even for your resume, for your cover letter, for the portfolio. I teach how to use it in multiple ways to my students. In one of the recent projects that I signed to them, which was like stepping into the shoe of an editor-in-chief, they even used Canva to put together a fashion magazine. So it's absolutely a great tool to use. It allows you to build beautiful mood boards, presentation, portfolios, magazines, social media graphics. Even if you have to pitch your marketing idea, your styling idea at work, it already has many templates that you can use to achieve a very professional design and look of your project. The third tool is Tagwalk. So whenever you ask me where do I find the photos of the runways, of the fashion shows, of all of the looks, whether you need it to compile it for a mood board or for a styling project or whatever is the situation you have to use any runway look, I personally love using Tagwalk. It is the search engine for all of the fashion shows and runways. So everything is organized by season, city. They also do some trends organization of the shows. It is super useful, and we use it a lot within the academy, and I teach to my students to use it a lot for all of their research, mood boards, portfolio projects. Another tool that is super useful, you might be familiar with it because it's everywhere right now, is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT can be super useful whether you're a student, you're an intern, an assistant, and even if you're working in the fashion industry. So AI is not going to replace you at your fashion job if you know how to use it. It's going to help you when you're doing doing your study, when you're doing your research. Plus, if you combine it with other tools like DALL-E, for example, to create the images. In our recent masterclass for my students, I taught them how to recreate these two images. I used ChatGPT plus DALL-E to recreate this. So can you imagine if you're just a fashion student, you build a portfolio with these images that look like real editorials, you are able to express all of your creative direction, so the styling choice, the model choice, the location, the clothes that they're wearing, and you present a professional portfolio with these images to recruiters or fashion professionals in general, how impressed they will be by your application. So what I typically teach to my students to go beyond the traditional path. So we are not just sending out resumes or cover letter, we are sending out proof that you can do the job with potential. And using ChatGPT is something that I teach to my students to elevate all of their applications. It can be extremely powerful if you know how to use it properly. So I gave to my students the prompts they can use in ChatGPT, and they can recreate this type of images by themselves. No graphic design skills needed, no codes needed. With ChatGPT and DALL-E, you can create beautiful, professional looking projects in a matter of seconds. Another tool that I recommend to my students who are doing some research, whether they want to work for magazines or in general they're doing research about the industry, like inspiration for the editorial campaigns. So recently I assigned them the assistant stylist project for the day or the editor-in-chief for a week project, where they had to simulate an internship with a stylist or an internship at a fashion magazine, and they needed inspiration to come up with their editorial ideas. So I suggest them to use Vogue Archive, where is a website where you can find all of the issues of Vogue, from the very first one to all of the recent ones. It is a huge source of inspiration, whether you need ideas for a fashion editorial that you have to take, a campaign that you have to produce, the cover of a magazine, or how the copy of not just articles but like advertising, everything. It is so powerful. Another tool is Substack. You might be familiar with Substack. It is a place where you can create a newsletter. I do also have a newsletter on Substack, but whether you're a student or aspiring fashion professionals, you can even create your own Substack newsletter to share your fashion journey, and in general to follow other fashion newsletters to stay up to date with what is happening in the industry. We do publish a newsletter every single day with things that you can learn about the fashion industry, so you can check it out if you're interested. I will leave you the link. But in general, Substack is great, either if you want to start your own publication or even just to stay up to date with what is happening in the industry by following fashion newsletters. Another one for research is Google Arts. Google Arts and cultural partners with different museums and exhibitions. So it's like you are going to visit a fashion exhibition from your laptop. But if you, for example, don't live in a fashion capital and you want to visit some fashion exhibition, you will find in Google Arts and Cultures exhibition from Met, of brands such as Balenciaga, Chanel, for example. So it's very powerful if you're doing your research, you want to learn more about the history of this brand and admire all of the beautiful clothes that made the history of fashion from your laptop or your smartphone. Another tool that I suggest is Phia. So Phia is founded by Phoebe Gates. We have been in touch for a couple of months now when she reached out to introduce me her startup. Yes, the daughter of Bill Gates. She co-founded Phia, which is like the Google Flights but for clothes. So you're probably a student or an intern and you love fashion, but probably you cannot afford all of the fashion pieces. So if you love dressing up and finding like cool pieces, Phia allows you to compare the prices of the items so that you can get the best deal. So save money and get affordable fashion. So alright, that was my list of the tools. Let me know which are the tools that you would like to try, which are the tools that you use the most at your internship, at your job, in your school. And if you want to learn more about how to utilize these tools every day at your fashion office, in your job, in your internship, check out my courses when I teach practical scenarios where the students are using all of these tools. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please do subscribe because it helps me keep going with the videos. And bye for now.